자, 저녁밥 먹기 전에 책 읽기입니다. No hard feelings. The secret power of embracing emotion at work. The first is ambiguous and demoralizing. The second points to a specific issue which make it harder to take personally and give the recipient a clear directive on how to improve. Pep Talks for Writers. 52 Insight and Action to Boost Your Creative Mojo. Let's thought race through your mind like a whippets. Write with hurrious need. Whippets. Greenwich Air has a proud reputation as a family-owned business. Circle Lines, sightseeing cruises at 42nd Street near Times Square. Sightseeing cruise, speedboat ride, and evening cruises. The Laptop Millionaire includes 32 proven ways to make money from home. One of my students, Sotiris from Belfast in Northern Ireland, attended a few of my seminars, and when he saw how many people were profiting from using Twitter, he quickly set up some Twitter accounts and started promoting ClickBank product to his followers. The betrayal of the American dream. What is clear is that the Justice Department sent an unmistakable message to future whistleblowers, turning a list of tax cheats, and is quite likely that you, not the tax law violators, will go to prison. Whistleblowers. Rebooting work. Transform how you work in the age of entrepreneurship. Don't compute action for traction. Focus on outcomes, not the face time. So many people work very hard and are utterly exhausted, yet they don't achieve anything that will matter in the long run. So, how do you know where to focus your energy? Guest directory. Take your room key. You will need it to regain access to your room. Life in the Balance. A physician's memoir of life, love, and loss with Parkinson's disease and dementia. She has been privy to the most intimate details of my life ever since, and now she's navigating the emotional turmoil of Parkinson's and dementia with me. Privy. On the brink, inside the race to stop the collapse of the global financial system. In this Saturday meeting, Dow, AIG's financial advisor from JP Morgan, described AIG's books as aggressively marked. The Disney Way, harnessing the management secret of Disney in your company. There are four main types of storyboard. the idea board, which is used to develop a concept. Study abroad, the Insider's Guide to get the real story on preparing for an exciting informational adventure. Plan ahead to protect your valuables and your money when you are traveling or out in public. How the English language became the world's language. This was an historic landing that marked the beginning of another vital page in the global expansion of the English-speaking world, the settlement of the British Empire. One your stop says about the U. You can get the direction of the difference right, such as women having higher scores on neuroticism than men, but still get the size of the difference wrong, perhaps thinking the gap between men and women is much larger than it really is. Survival. FM 21 to 76, Department of the Army Field Manual. The tree is 8 to 15 feet tall with a dense and spiny growth, while the fruit is 2 to 4 inches in diameter, gray or yellowish, and full of seed. Fire and fury inside the Trump White House. Bannon was not merely contemptuous of Ryan's ideology. He had no respect either for his craft. Being tan is no laughing matter. Well, forget it, said Anastasia. I've changed my mind. Reading comprehension. The chair was lowered from the air, and Joy joined the rest of the campers as Ken took his turn. What a life! Stories of amazing people. The passage implies that. Why do you think the Gibsons sought life in New York would be easier than life in South Carolina? A whiteboard overview by How to Build a Culture of Nonstop Innovation. Respect is the first casualty of internal design teams. Adage Palm in Franconia, Robert Frost wrote poems of New England life. Crash course for the SAT, the last-minute guide to scoring high. Learn 10 simple steps in less than 1 week. Make a sentence, analogies. Otherwise, study your vocabulary. Vocab time. Turn to page 130 and memorize the hit parade words for step 8. Don't fire them up. Motivate yourself and your team. A must-read for everyone who realizes that people are the most important resource in any organization. Easy answer right, smooth the customer, and everything will be okay. How about the business review? Work versus life. Forget about the balance. You have to make choice. The rules of trust. Step 1. Identify your primary customer. But how can executives be confident that they are making the right choice? Simply empowered. Discover how to create and sustain success in every area of your life. What if you learned to see anger as an opportunity to make a change that will improve your life or the lives of others? Social media marketing for dummies. Understand the latest social media marketing trends. Build and launch a campaign for any sized business. Learn cost-effective ways to reach your audience. Inside, pick the best channel for you. Accommodate user intent. Make sure you prepare content for pages that have buying words in them, such as how much or what is the cost. This indicates the user intent to consider buying, and you want to help them do that. The most successful small business in the world, the 10 principles. I tried to describe to him what I meant and found it more difficult than what I imagined it would be when I started out. Maslow on management. This is Maslow's most important and most enduring book. It had a lasting impact on me. Then if we look at the person who would be best suited to be the leader, that is, the one who is best suited actually to solve the problem or to pursue the task successfully, that is, the one who is most perceptive about the objective requirements of the situation, and who is there most selfless in the situation, just that person, because by definition he is psychologically healthier, gets absolutely no kick out of being able to order people around or to boss them. Updating. How to date out of your league. Flattery. One can you anywhere with a looker. They think is as basic as the law of gravity. But it's not. With a gorgeous partner, it could have just the opposite effect. That's not to say great-looking people aren't suckers for compliments, just like everyone else. Sucker. How to create a culture of excellence. Winning companies understand that it's much cheaper to develop a star than it is to go out and buy one. Think why crucial decisions can be made in the blink of an eye. According to a study conducted by the Institute for the Future, employees at Fortune 1,000 companies now send and receive an average of 178 email messages a day. American progress, battling fear, discrimination, and the Great Depression. My husband is a smart man, mother added. Later we called out, "Is that new? Is that new?" The CEO test. Master the challenges that make or break all leaders. It's not just about listening to the person across the table from you, Cabin says. Listening is actually being alert to the whole ecosystem in which you operate. Black, a trilogy, one book, book one. A giggle ripped through the water like a child now. Tom grinned stupidly and spun around. Alien? His voice was muffled, hardly a voice at all, muffled. His voice was muffled. The room where it happened. Former National Security Advisor of the United States. We ran into similar obstacles internationally as we sought to alert our allies to Huawei's threat and that of the other state-controlled Chinese firms. The art of aging, a doctor's prescription for the well-being. All I do now is tend the garden and water the plants and occasionally cook some dish that does not always turn out a success. Simple, conquering the crisis of complexity. At the same time, it's a way to feel good about your business and yourself. Beyond the business regions, plain speaking is the right thing to do. This isn't just about improving bottom lines. It's about achieving our highest ideas. When a company is known for being straightforward and honest in all its dealings with the public, it engenders a sense of purpose and pride. It can help remind people in business why they got in that business in the first place. Season's Best Recipe Collection. Remove baking stone from oven. Brave New York. Are you ready to reinvent your organization? One easy solution to all this is to abandon the taboo around the salaries and make them transparent, both within the firm and to the broader public. The father and his two daughters. Creating value through people, discussion with the talent leaders. Question. Few meaning what? Under 100? Under 10? And in many cases, they've come back. It's rare that people leave for another company. It does happen, but that's really rare. And our senior vice president of human resources keeps telling me, we are so fortunate now. Why are people staying is the question. The Great Depression ahead. How to prosper in the crash following the greatest boom in history. The forces for such a radical transformation in its political system are not as strong, given that it has fewer young people to stage such a revolution. Doing both, how Cisco captures today's profit and drives tomorrow's growth. So the company began formulating an approach to emerging countries that was unlike anything it had done before. Considering the changes underway in the world's economy, the timing could have been better. Unfuck yourself. Get out of your head and into your life. Or when you got surgery and had to spend days lying in a hospital bed, or when you broke up with someone and felt depressed for weeks, let all of it in, from the most tragic and traumatic to the merely irritating, annoying, or regretful. Secrets of Mental Health. The Math Magician's Guide to Lightning Calculation and Amazing Math Tricks. At the end of this sequence, the answer 1089 will magically appear, no matter what number your volunteer originally chose. For example, what really motivates salespeople? Family, business, and succession. CEOs need mentors too. Reinventing performance ranking, a radical new way to evaluate the talent. While a very simple comp plan, such as the one advocated by Holmstrom and the Milgrom, can be appealing, for one thing, is easier and less costly. To get the optimal work out of a particular salesperson, you should, in theory, design a compensation system tailored to that individual. Comp. Power reading. Technical material is a special category of communication. It consists of highly concentrated facts and symbols in a very organized, tightly regioned presentation. What colleges don't tell you, and other parents don't want you to know. 272 secrets for getting your kids into the top schools. What should you tell your kids to say? Is it okay to reveal the fact that I have to fix a spelling error? Is it okay to tell them I hired a consultant? Is there a wrong answer? Parental paranoia. What if the college asks who helped with the application? Paranoia. Learning how to learn. A guide for kids and teens. How to succeed in school without spending all your time studying. Enjoyment comes with mastery. When you are forced to learning something new, before you begin to create brain links, it can often seem difficult and unenjoyable. Let's take learning to ride a bicycle, for example. At first, it was hard just to remain upright. You crashed to the ground, and sometimes it hurt. Once you began to ride upright, then you had to learn how to not press the brake too hard and how to turn without failing. But once the initial, more difficult learning stage passed, you could just jump on the bike and ride. You became an expert. Fantastic. This brings us to an important point. Sometimes you do not enjoy things because you have not yet mastered them. You are still in the how do I balance my bike early stages where it all can seem very difficult. Just start. The first steps are often the most difficult. Enjoy the process and wait for the results to come. Do nothing. How to stop overmanaging and become a great leader. They learn from medical school on that they are singularly responsible for the success of their procedure, even though they still need a team. Even when the power goes up, preserve what's most important to you. With the APC backups, your digital life goes on. Empty nesters. One-on-one stories about surviving and thriving when the kids leave home. I knew it was a moment to celebrate. After all, this was the very essence of parenting, to nurture, to teach, to hold your child steady until it's time for him to go it alone. And I was proud of all that Matthew had accomplished so far. Motels, apartments, and the motor the lodges, marked by a giant fiberglass carrot statue. Why survive being old in America? The best and the best informed exposure to appear so far. Every American of every age should read this book. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, learn. Life's greatest lessons are gained from our losses. They were shy and beautiful, and they were loud and funny, and they were, like me, somehow imperfectly built. And like me, they had parents nearby, parents who willed themselves to believe that this accident of circumstances or nature was not a life sentence, and that the spirit inside these tiny bodies were greater than the sums of their hands and feet. Marketing in the age of social media, startups that last, building a culture of originality, what to do when grocery stores. That attitudes had kept early employees feeling valued and engaged. We worked really hard to get people to believe that you can hire people better than you. Don't sweat the small stuff at work. Simple ways to minimize stress and conflict while bringing out the best in yourself and others. This is clearly a time when you have a tendency to sweat the small stuff. Too soon old, too late smart. 32 things you need to know now. One of them asked Patton if that was the official unit prayer. Brand sinking and other noble pursuit. People who are honest about branding understand that the Catholic Church is, by definition, a brand. to hasten the day when fear of the atom will begin to disappear from the mind of people and the governments of the East and the West. There are certain steps that can be taken now. I therefore make the following proposals. Mind, how the hidden rules of ownership control our lives. Should we set the self-ownership dimmer for gestational surrogacy at the same place New Jersey set it for traditional surrogacy? Updating. Ouch. Royalty considered the words brand new and Oriental rugs to be oxymoron. Yellow pages of Find Engine. Vibration analysis. The alter ego epic, the power of secret identities to transform your life. The more vivid you can make it, the better the chance you'll show up on the field of play and the win. The softer side of negotiation, how to win before the bargaining even begins. Emotion and the art of negotiation, how to use your feelings to your advantage. How chapter the lie, getting smarter about visual information. We'll get to the part about followable models and the simulation in a minute. I don't pretend that this plan will solve all our problems. The Code, the 5 Secrets of Teen Success. This is the book all teenagers have been waiting for. How about on an individual level? Can you give up your seat to someone on the bus or join someone who's sitting by themselves at lunch? Write down at least one way you can give to a classmate, teacher, or anyone you run into during the day. Find your happiness. One-on-one inspirational stories about finding your purpose, passion, and joy. There are many roads to happiness. After you read these stories, you'll be much better equipped to find the path and the destination that's right for you. Perfect praise for office of the professional. Can I share my thought? The filter bubble. One day you are making sand castle. The next your sand castle is worth $50 billion, and everyone in the world wants a piece of it. How to prepare for the computer-based TOEFL essay. A sensitive person would make everyone feel comfortable. A sensitive person understands that people are different and that the values of honesty, intelligence, and humor can be applied differently. Back the elephant. How to win and keep big customers. Once you know the format and the information needed, make sure to submit every quote and proposal in that style. Life strategies for teens. List the 5 most important people in your life. Angela's problem is that she won't get started and she won't take action. Remember the be-do-have formula. Angela is being but not doing. At this rate, she'll never have. So do something. You can only create your own experience if you take action to do so. Planning is great, but doing is better. Wow. Launching successful leaders. How to make sure your most promising people reach their highest potential. With multiple challenges jostling for attention, top teams are liable to disagree on the transformation priority. Management tips. How about the business review? Connect the dots. Give the right direction. With your team, create 2 lists, one of the major projects and one of the organization's goals. Draw lines between the 2 lists. If there are projects that don't line up, consider refocusing or killing them. Connect the dots. Comprehensive curriculum. In each sentence, circle the word or group of words that is a synonym for a word from the word box. The workers are bringing in their machines. Fail fast, fail often. How losing can help you win. Who do you bet that will come up with the more innovative or usable idea? My guess is that you'd bet on your twin, and not because he has better natural creative abilities. Genetic. Initiate the moments of stillness and serenity that remind you of the sacredness of life. The cult of the customer. Create an amazing customer experience that turns satisfied customers into customer evangelists. Launching the amazement revolution. So now what? If you've made it this far in the book, I am hoping that you are now motivated to move your customers, yourself, your department, or your entire organization toward the cult of amazement. Enlightenment now, the case for religion, science, humanism, and the progress. Better still, the world's cultural patrimony is now available not just to the rich and well-located, but to anyone who is connected to the vast web of knowledge, which means most of humanity and soon all of it patrimony. Find a sponsor, forget a mentor, the new way to fast-track your career. In short order, all for women won promotion. If my boss were to complain about some problem or challenge he's struggling to solve, I would say, you should talk to Lisa in Global Equities because she's had a lot of experience with that. It turned out to be a really effective tactic because we could be quite compelling about each other's accomplishment. Student the Ciceros. On the High Line, exploring America's most original urban park. Act like the lady. The 5 questions every woman should ask before she gets into the deep. And I was amazed at this because I couldn't understand how one person could get all of these fine women like this. The ultimate marketing toolkit. Ads that attract customers, blogs that create buzz, websites that wow. This may require little imagination. For our teakwood frame provider, the customer might choose picture frame, wooden frame, wooden picture on the frame. Perfect praise for the sales call. What are some of the major challenges, changes in your company, department, industry in the past 6, 12, 18 months? What impact have these had on your profits, morale, market share, etc.? Interactive science. A mountain is very high and large. Now discover your strengths. First, break all the rules. For both of these regions, then many of us avoid the exposure of building on our strengths. Instead, we stay in the workroom, patching up the cracks. It is diligent, it is humble, and the society respected it. Unfortunately, as is just described, patching up your weakness. Patching up your weakness will never lead you to excellence. So what should you do? How can you overcome this potent fear of strength-based failure? Patching up your weakness. Meet your new employee, how to manage the man-machine collaboration, conquering digital distraction. You might not get very far, however, if employers in your field don't buy into augmentation, digital distraction. The ultimate happiness, the prescription, 7 keys to joy and enlightenment. Happiness, there you don't need a reason to be happy, you just are. Happiness based on reasons is actually another form of misery. Whatever the reason for your happiness, a good relationship, a pleasurable situation, or material possession, it can be taken away from you at any moment. Therefore, your happiness is fragile and dependent on externals. Happiness without reason is real happiness. It is frequently referred to as the bliss. This is a happiness that can never be taken away. Wow. Emotional intelligence, the essential ingredients to success, building resilience, when to trust your God, why it's so hard to be fair. The reality is that important decisions made by intelligent, responsible people with the best information and intention are sometimes hopelessly flawed. The talent master, why smarter leaders put people before the numbers. We talk about leadership belief and we try to get them in touch with their own stories so they can deliberately use those stories to lead. The complete macrobiotic diet. 7 steps to feel fabulous, look vibrant, and think clearly. Doors slamming, television or music blasting, and people shouting all take their toll on our health. Plants have the ability to absorb sound. All plants can do this, but evergreens are especially adept at soaking up noise. If you keep a lot of plants in the house, they will help keep the noise level down. It's easier to maintain good health in a quiet house, though one must be out of doors enough to experience wholesome reality, as ballast to thought and sentiment. Health requires this relaxation, this aimless life. Ballast. Bridging psychological distance, making strategy work, how to avoid the traps and execute the brilliantly. Since Michael's seminal work in the 1980s, we have had a clear and widely accepted definition of what strategy is. But we know a lot less about translating a strategy into results. Seminal. American culture and the media, reading, writing, thinking. Asking the following sub-question will help you pursue the broader question. What is the problem and how can it be solved? What is the problem? Why is it a problem? SAT subject test, Math Level 2, most up-to-date review and practice test currently available. Expert advice on the best way to approach the test. When praised, Koreans often insist they did nothing deserving of praise. Consumer neuroscience. What matters in the category drivers. Each tool has its own strengths. Each tool has its own strengths and limitations, and these should be taken into account when devising the study. Managing for people who hate managing. Be a success by being yourself. I hated the pressure of always feeling like I needed to have the answers to solve everyone's problems. Positive outcomes. The Adirondack Mountains in New York have many beautiful lakes and resorts. One of the most famous lakes, Lake Placid, is at the edge of the village of Lake Placid. The Winter Olympics were held here in 1932 and 1980. The Book of the Presidents, with portraits by distinguished American artists. In office, Cleveland was a duo, and he continued to make enemies. He made civil service reform a reality by courageously placing a number of political jobs under the protection of civil service, and he stood firmly against a high protective tariff, moves that contribute to his defeat in 1888. Men are like the Whoppers, women are like the spaghetti, understanding and delighting in your differences. That is definitely not true. I looked around my pathetic setting and cried out to God. 바이블이네. Your money or your life. 9 steps to transforming your relationship with money and achieving financial independence. Review and make a list of all subcategories with the symbol or down arrow. Making your wall chart. Step 5 entails setting up a graph of your income and your expenses, one that is large enough to accommodate 3 to 5 years of data. Crime prevention approaches, practice, and evaluation. After reading this chapter, you should be able to provide insight to the extent of drug use in society and among offending population.